The agenda that's being presented.
Yeah, by the way, a lot of you were serving it. Mainline conservatives giggling and laughing. I saw an ad on Drudge saying, a T-shirt saying, "I love waterboarding. I'd rather be waterboarding." If they can do that to somebody else, that's a set of precedent. They want to do that to you, you little fools. You own some property, you own some land, you've licked their boots well, you're going to be the first going in the ground.
Yes, in fact, you're the first on the menu because you're the easiest one to grab. That's one of the things that happened with the Cultural Revolution in China.
First on the menu.
It happened in Russia. That's right. It happened. What about in Cambodia? Here's a situation where you have a lot of
anybody who had glasses or had fillings was deemed to be middle class. You were killed.
That's right.
And Zbigniew Brzezinski engineered that and brags about it.
And in fact, the very voice you hear here with Henry Kissinger, that is one of the demons who absolutely helped to engineer it because he empowered Zbigniew Brzezinski and many others.
That's his protege.
And conduit. He created the conduit of resources that allowed them to be able to do it. Now, they're not working in a vacuum. And here's the problem, people. We're not talking over there. We're talking inside the United States on a scale that most people, that's what bends their mind, is the idea that they have to look at this realistically. The numbers. If we go by the litmus test of history, the scale of history, we have demonstrations over and over again of what socialism does.
And if you look at Chinese model versus Russian model versus Ukraine, other places, we're talking, they're probably planning on killing in the entire multi-phase program, 60, 70 million?
If they were to have their way. But the difference is, unlike Russia and unlike the...
We have guns.
Yeah, we are very well armed.
And if 1% of 100 million gun owners decides to fight, that's 1 million people.
I'd be happy if just, here's the problem, and they don't want anybody to think about this. Everybody listening has one firearm. Everybody listening walks out and takes their moose and just walks away from the war. There are not enough moose to go around. The black uniformed or blue beret moose are simply not in sufficient numbers. You don't have to even fight the whole war. If you went out and just plugged one and let it sit there and twitch and strip it for whatever's there, what would they do? See, what Alexander Solzhenitsyn said, "Oh, how we burned in the camps, knowing full well that we had had nothing to lose. And if we had waited when the mass arrests began, with cudgels and sharp objects,
hatchets,
the wretched machine, for lack of operatives, would have ground to a halt."
In a week.
So here again, people, what have you got to lose? Nothing. What have you got to gain? Absolutely everything. You know what? The only thing I'll say is this. There's this war, and it is going to be a war, and it'd be nice to say that it'd be peaceful, but it's not going to be, because you're dealing with an animal that is a vicious leg biter. You ever tried to argue with a dog that's a biter? There isn't a whole lot of arguing you can do. You either A, shoot it, or have a really good 2x4 and smack it side the head and keep her down. Well, of course, you can cage it, which would be really good. First containment is a nice idea. Usually the owner does that, by the way, if he's smart. But in this case, you're the owner of these dogs. They plan on just simply letting them run the town.
Well, that's already happening. Like every day, the cops just run up to a guy on a bicycle, no reason, and slam his head in the concrete and then charge him. And it's on video, and they say, "We don't care." Or throwing a guy off a bridge and tasering him 19 times and laughing. My whole issue is, you say a lot of police, a lot of people in your family.
Call them peace officers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference.
Peace officers. They are good. They're on our side. They're not doing all of this, so it's certainly not time for going out and after moose.
It's a minority issue, first of all, but here's the problem. There's going to be a given point when you're going to reach the limit, period. There's just simply, that's all there is to it. And those men, I've had men walk right up to me and say, "Hi, Mark, you don't know who I am. I'm Deputy so-and-so. I just want you to look at my face, remember who I am, because if I'm in uniform when this starts, the first thing that's disappearing is the uniform, and I'm going to be with my family, and we're already armed, and we're with you." And the reason they say that is because their perception is that they would like everybody to understand they're not part of this, and they won't participate. And I can say this, but I cannot mention names. I have watched this happen in the last year. They've already tried to orchestrate something else.
With you.
It already failed.
Yeah, you just spent 7 years on video for doing nothing. They ran you off the road.
Exactly.
Just like they run 15 feet over the side of the street and knock a guy off a bicycle and then charge him.
Right, exactly. And the point is that they're pressing the envelope. But here's the thing. There are many people, and they will tell you the same thing, that they are expecting to fight, because the rabid ones that are chosen for authority are not the thinking ones. You have to get outside this box that you're going to negotiate with a backed up toilet. The backed up toilet, in fact, this one has wheels. It plans on being rolled down through your neighborhood, okay? And that's the problem. Look at him as nothing more than a backed up toilet. How would you fix it? Break out the plunger and get rid of the problem. Now, we do get to choose. The one of the mistakes made here is I will ask again. I want somebody to go to the National Archives, and I want them to show me the vote that took us into the American Revolution. The American Revolution started on April 19th, 1775. I want you to show me the ballot box, and I want you to show me the counting of the votes. Where is it?
No, it started when they started shooting at each other.
It started when one man said, you know what, I've been out here 7 times. Paul made his ride. He told everybody, get up. We all got up. The British came out. The cowards ran. They came out, and eventually, remember when the American Revolution started, the British had to sneak out of Boston. The Patriot movement was watching everything that they were doing. The counties knew that when they moved, they had to mobilize the militias. And it was made up of all of the people. And each time they went out, and they stopped, and they went back. And each time they went out, they stopped. And this is part of history that they have to try and eliminate because, wait a minute, well, they're the most powerful army on the planet. What were they afraid of? They were afraid of the people because there weren't enough moose. Finally, on April 19th, somebody got stupid. They figured, well, we just got to press the envelope. One man, probably on our side, probably a 20-year veteran of the French and Indian Wars, said, I'm 62 years old and I ain't getting any younger and I'm not going to do this anymore. Boom! And he voted with a 1-ounce chunk of lead. The lead was cast as a resounding vote. It was placed in the redcoat ballot box, and then the redcoat ballot box. The redcoats cast a whole bunch of ballots. The Patriots cast a whole bunch of ballots, and the militia withdrew from the election, so to speak, for a little bit of time, and ran across the fields out of Lexington proper. The British collected themselves, went to look for another voting process at Concord, and they found out that they were on the losing side, and the number of votes cast were in favor of the Patriot effort, and the largest military force on the planet, backed by a Navy.
And that's the problem with this lawless government and all of its crimes, is it is pushing everyone into a law of the jungle scenario where the cartridge box is now the ballot box.
They're hoping for a reaction. Notice that I'm not shouting. I'm responding. I have a plan. There are millions of soldiers and former soldiers out there that don't want to fight, but they have a plan too. And we all understand how to wage war. It is what we did. I was a trainer. I was an OPFOR training commander. I have managed virtually tens of thousands of men. That job hasn't changed, and my experience hasn't changed. And a lot of other men, just like me, and men with far more experience with 2 and 3 wars under their belt, are on our side simply asking the question, how could the American people be so stupid as to let this happen or put up with it? At a given point, those men are going to cast a vote.
Let me just list some of the things. We have illegal aliens who are felons. The mainstream news admits that's the prize. A felon who is a foreigner. They're filling the military up with that. Mercenaries, foreign troops. I played Bill Moyers yesterday with Israeli troops in the U.S. Yep. I mean, this is now on PBS saying it. So all of this is going on. My only point is I don't want to start a hot war when we are in the info war destroying them right now.
We are going to have to be ready to do both. We must be prepared as the militia to, if need be, defend any element of the Patriot movement.
So for you, Mark Koernke, and we got to take a few calls because I've got to go. What is the line in the sand for you?
I think that if there's and again, this was planned on for, we knew as of November of 1994 that in from March 21st to March 23rd of 1995, they were planning mass arrests of patriots across the United States.
So you got on air and said they were planning to stage a terror attack.
We told everybody about it. So this is before Oklahoma City. Remember, that would have been the premise for the government doing the bombing and saying the patriots did it. Now, the problem is that Oklahoma City happened in a vacuum because we flat out said, here's how it's going to work. If anybody is picked up, if you try to grab a whole bunch of people, you will die.